What did your crush do that absolutely killed your interest? Bragged about drinking and driving. He told me that he and his friends have a nothing under 100 club, where they drink and then drive on the interstate going 100 plus mph and have to send a full-length Snapchat video of the speedometer to each other. 2 of my friends had been killed by a drunk driver 3 months prior. Revealed his list of conquests. Not even my brother knows how many women I've slept with. Then he offered to take my virginity in the back of his pickup truck. I passed. She asked if things didn't work out if I would mind if she went out with my roommate. I said I couldn't possibly do that to him and left. Quick, we're gonna need an ambulance for this burn. He talked about how he and his friends used to abuse farm cats. They talked about one that was buried and then run over. I did a quick 180 and absolutely hated him. Kissed me and then, after he pulled away, told me he has a girlfriend. The old razzle-dazzle? Stole from a homeless person. We were walking together downtown and she saw a bucket of coins in front of a pharmacy. She just scooped it all up and kept walking. Guy comes out as she's 20 feet away or so and yells at her. She keeps moving. I stood there and just gave him a $20 and didn't hang out with her anymore. We were 14 and 15. She asked me if I was good with kids because she was pregnant with her ex and that's she's not good with kids. It was the first date. We were teenagers. He lived in a different province. And we used to chat on Skype. He wanted me to think he was a badass or something and would always talk about his drug use. He ended up faking a heroin overdose when we were on chat together. I was hysterically crying and freaking out thinking I was watching someone dying and was trying to figure out how to call 911 in another province when he snapped out of it and told me he was actually okay. I didn't talk to him much after that. Placed the tip on the table before we'd received service. Before using it as a threat. Real ugly. This was in college. We were acquaintances and had a few classes together. He was cute, funny, and I totally had a crush on him. He asked me out to dinner and a movie. At the restaurant he ordered the most expensive things on the menu. Apps, drinks, lobster, and even dessert. When the bill came he said, "You got this, right?" I was so embarrassed I paid. Then I said I'd skip the movie because I wasn't feeling well and he asked me to give him $20 for gas and for wasting his time. I didn't and just left. After that he couldn't seem to understand why I didn't want to go out with him again. Kept arranging times to talk and whatnot. Then always forgot or was not available. I've had the same thing happen to me. She would always text me and ask if I could chat at a certain time. Of course I would agree. Then when I called she would have her phone off or only answer 5% of the time. I really liked her too. So I was just like, WTF. If you say you want to talk at so-and-so time, you know, answering the phone might help. Bullied the quiet kid in our class. He tried to discreetly take photos of my feet. Nothing against people who are into that. But the way he was going about it was super creepy. Yikes. Huge crush on a fellow uni student. I was invited over for what I expected to be a platonic study date, but hey. Any time spent is better than just being alone. Or so I thought. Got there and found another student from class also. Okay. Study group. Turns out her mom and her set us up for a full press MLM pitch. Video. Literature. The works. I stayed a bit not to be rude. Excused myself shortly. And only talked to her in class just in passing from then on. Huge letdown. Edit. MLM means multi-level marketing. AKA a pyramid scheme. We were in the process of getting together. She had called over and we spent an afternoon watching movies and sitting close together. By about 8 in the evening she was considering staying later and I was casually encouraging her. She asked if she could take a shower. And I was like, yeah. Sure, of course. Glad that the bathroom was clean and tidy and I had fresh towels. Anyway, about 4 minutes later she calls me saying she needs help with the shower. And I give her a moment to get a towel around herself and knock on the bathroom door. She opens it completely naked and shows me that she's having trouble with the shower controls. So I'm kinda unsure whether to make the move or start with the controls, so I go with the flow and show her, this is hot and cold. This is pressure. This is rainforest. And this is power jets. In the 5 seconds it takes me to do this she has sat on the toilet. Which is kinda a weird thing because I need to be able to make the next move. And she's, well, she's sitting on the toilet. Naked. With the lid up. Looking all disinterested. I'm thinking, I've screwed it up, when suddenly. Curse splosh. And she takes a dump right in front of me. And then another one. I was just, I'll leave you to it. This was years ago. On a first date, tried to convince me to quit my job and put all my savings into gold bars, then demanded I let him read my tarot cards to see if we'd be a good fit. Nope. Another controlling type. His sister actually approached me and let me know that he was once arrested for locking their other pregnant sister in their basement. Went on a coke binge while she desperately tried to get out. And went outside to beat their unsuspecting neighbor's van with a golf club. That was a big ol' nope. Turned out to be the person eating everyone else's food from the breakroom fridge. Talked non-stop about himself and his accomplishments and never asked me one question about myself. Experienced this. But he would ask me questions about myself and after one line from me, would take over the conversation and somehow direct the spotlight from my answer back onto himself. Almost competitively. Went on a date with a guy similar to this lol. He loved himself and whenever he asked me a question he would take my reply and tell me why I was wrong for thinking it. And then tell me his right version. Told me he was only being nice to me because he was interested in a friend of mine. I see his Facebook posts now. He is dumber than a box of rocks on a treadmill. I'm not sure why the box of rocks on the treadmill is dumber than the box of rocks not on a treadmill. But I accept the metaphor. I've been talking to a guy online for a while now. In the past few days. Our conversation has jumped from a dating app to texting to phone calls the last few nights. We were really hitting it off on the phone both nights. But he was drinking while talking to me and each night he got more repetitive and emotional as the conversation went on. The conversation then went off the rails and he seemed angry with me for some unknown reason and hung up. The first night it happened. I gave him the benefit of the doubt because we've all accidentally drank too much sometimes and acted a fool. But 2 nights in a row? Yeah. Any attraction I was developing is gone. I'm not interested in dating an abusive drunk. I recently went through the exact same thing. Had been single for a little over half a year and met this really sweet girl who was a caregiver to her grandparents. Her life wasn't easy, but she seemed like the most empathetic and giving human being in the world. And I was enjoying getting to know her. But the more we got to know each other, the more erratic the calls would get. 4 a.m. FaceTime calls because her grandpa was sitting on the toilet, unable to poop, and she was bored. And if I didn't answer, she'd call 5 more times and then text, really? And when I'd kindly explain that I was sorry I wasn't there for her, I understood she probably felt alone and frustrated, but I was sound asleep. She literally didn't remember the 6 calls and passive-aggressive messages. I finally cut things off with her before they even got going. And she has spent the past 2 weeks just blowing up my phone with the most incoherent rants about how she suffers from alcoholism and I owe her another chance. I legit feel bad. I think she was excited about the prospect of getting to know somebody who could provide her the distraction from her current situation. And she's honestly devastated by the loss of that possibility. But I think that was going down a very unhealthy road and I need to be able to look out for myself. Still sucks though. She got blackout drunk at a party and violently shat her pants. The smell alone completely turned me off of any interest I had. Violently, LMAO. Littered. That's so trashy. What a garbage person. Had a crush on this girl back in high school. She seemed like a sweet girl. After she rejected me I let it go but still was interested in maintaining some sort of friendship. Found out she was actually pretty toxic behind my back. She made fun of me for a lot of things that really didn't matter, like hand motions while talking, and I just lost interest in her entirely. Even in a friendship. She said I smile too much as CKU. I smile when I want to. I try to find joy. She slept with my dad. That has to be the shortest answer. And somehow still the biggest red flag. Ignored me when somebody new and shiny came along. It's better than keeping you as a doormat mate. Too critical about every word I uttered under the name of sarcasm. Oh yeah. The classic, it's a joke, so you can't get mad type or line. He picked me up for our first date and his car was disgusting. Not talking a few trash items. The entire backseat and floorboard was completely covered in piled up trash. Even up front. I had to step on empty McDonald's bags. Old soda bottles. Wrappers etc. to even get in. And all he said was, "Just move it around with your feet." No sorry or anything. Made me feel like trash too. Like dang. Couldn't even clean up a little? Light the back fence of the school on fire to impress a mate. Dumped me after 9 months because she wasn't ready for a serious relationship. Got into a relationship the next day and was married within 5 months. Told me that she didn't like me back anymore. But maybe if I waited long enough she would like me like that again. Edit, she told me that I had gotten more critical lately and I changed. So she wanted me to change back before she would be with me. I was giving her a place to sleep when she was feuding with her mother. After weeks of picking up after her, I dared to complain. She had a screaming fit, packed up her crap and left. I was glad to be rid of her. Until later it got around to me that she was telling people on FB that I kicked her out for refusing to give me a blowjob. There is a lot I can forgive. But that was the first time I had ever had anyone just straight up make stuff up about me. F you. I'll kiss you but I'd never date you. FK you. I had a girl who wanted to move in with me and start a physical relationship. I might have been interested if she weren't moving so fast and if she hadn't already had a boyfriend at the time. The final nail in that already well-fastened coffin was when she said the SX would only be physical and that she wasn't looking for an emotional connection at all. I had been secretly in love with her for 5 years and that completely destroyed me. Told me he liked dating broken girls so he could fix them. See ya later. BNER.